Hey Image Design, this is Miss Olson and I'm going to show you the process from your reading in Unit 6. In this unit, we are focusing on our drawing skills. So we're going to draw some fruit. The first thing you need to do, and I'll go ahead and restart this, is click File, New. So this is when you're not working with an image that already exists, you're creating a new file. Set the width to 800 and the height to 800. So 800 by 800 pixels. And then click OK. And I have to change one thing real fast. Okay. All right. Once you've got your new file open, let's add some layers. We want a banana layer, an orange layer, and an apple layer. We will start with our banana, and the way you'll do this is we're going to draw the outline, and then we'll figure out a different process that I'll show you to fill in the color with the banana. After that, we will detail them, and then I'm also going to show you how to create a brush. So click on your banana layer, grab your brush tool, and then set it to the 3x3 pixel brush, and we want it to be size 15. So change the size to 15 or so. Choose a yellow color for the banana. If you want to use a different color, I honestly don't care, but I'm going to use yellow. And then draw the outline shape of a banana as best as you can. If you need to look up an image, do look up an image. Mine looks kind of funky, but that's okay. I'll fix it later and I'll show you how to fix it. So I have an outline, and it's really important that you go all the way back to the beginning. Don't add any details, don't scribble inside, just the outline. When you have the outline, use the fuzzy select tool. It looks like a little sparkler firework, and click inside. What that does is it selects the inside area of a shape. So that's why you can't scribble outside and you have to make sure it's closed. Now when I select it, notice on the outside, it's missing some of these lighter colored squares, these pixels. I want it to be solidly in this middle part of the yellow. So your lesson teaches you to grow your selection. And you can do that by clicking Select, Grow. We are going to grow it 1 pixel. Click OK. And then if you zoom in, you can see that the line moved into the middle of the yellow. So that's exactly what we want. Once you've done that, now I can grab my brush tool, make it nice and big, and I can only color inside of that line. So it makes it really nice when you want to fill in color really fast. Once you've colored in your line, you can turn off the selection so you can color in other places. Select None. And then at this point, I want to make some changes to my banana because it looks kind of funky. So grabbing my brush tool, I can make parts of it thicker, like the base down here. Otherwise, it just kind of looks like a pepper, like a weird pepper. Okay. And then you can also go in and erase parts. So using the eraser if you have any areas you don't want. Also note that I am using the smoother option. Oh, I'm not. I can turn it on though. Use the smooth stroke option to help keep your lines nice and clean and beautiful. So once you're happy with your banana, you can go on to the next step. Click on the apple layer, find a blank area of the canvas, change your color to whatever you want for your apple. Change your brush size to size 15. Draw the shape of your apple. use the fuzzy select tool inside, grow that select. And you can grow more than once if you need to. And fill it in. Turn off your selection and make adjustments wherever you need to. Oh, my brush is way too big. Here we go. Okay, last but not least, we've got our orange. And that one's pretty easy. It's just a circle. Select, grow, and fill. Okay, so I've got my fruits. Now I want to add some details. Click on your banana layer, and there's a trick here that you should know about. In the layers panel, if you hover over the little gray square right here, it's called lock alpha channel. When I click on that, if I try to draw anywhere that is not already drawn on that layer, it won't let me color anywhere else. It'll only let me color on that layer, those objects. So this works really good if I want to add details just to my banana and I don't want to mess up the outline. So I can change that to brown. And I'm using the brush. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm making it smaller. I'm setting it to brown. I locked the alpha channel. And I'm going to add some lines. The end piece here, let me make the brush a little bigger. And then the stem up here. All right. On the apple layer, I want to add a stem, and it's going to come off the apple, so I don't want to lock the apple channel there. Instead, I'm just going to come off the top like this. And then for the orange, usually they have a little spot. All right, so I've got a banana, I've got an orange, I've got an apple. They have some details on them. The next thing that we're going to do is add some texture to them. So with the banana layer, not the apple layer, let's add some texture to it. So click on the banana layer and zoom in using the magnifying tool. Draw a box around the banana. And your lesson mentioned a few specific brushes, but honestly, you could use whatever you would like. I'll show you what the lesson showed. So if you click on this little filter option above the brushes over here and choose media, you'll get some brushes that are based on like paint brushes and such, and these are really good for textures. So I'm going to click on the first one, which is acrylic 01. I'm going to select my brush tool, and when you see that over here, and I try to draw with that brown, you get this sort of this big splatter of brown. So that's a little too much. What I would want to do though is maybe take the yellow color that I already have, a slightly darker version of it, and then I can add some of that spotting. Another thing you can do, which can help with this too, is you can lower the opacity of your brush. And that's how see-through your brush is. So I can turn it down, and then it's a little bit more manageable. So I'm going to add just a couple of textury bits here to make it look less flat. I also recommend shifting the color slightly, and that can help too. And it can also help to go back in with some of that original yellow on top, or maybe a brighter version of it, just to soften it up. So that's the one way you can add texture. Okay. Let's do the apple next. So since we've got the stem in already, let's lock that apple channel. Let's pick a color for our apple texture. And this time let's try a different brush. I don't know what we have here. It looks like this. Okay, yeah, spots. So that works well for my apple. You can also mix brushes together, so some of them will work better than others. Maybe I want to mix some colors in that are a little unexpected, because I know like sometimes apples have like that yellowy section to them. So really this part of the process, it's about playing around, kind of experimenting and seeing what you like. Okay, so I've got the apple done and I've got the banana done. For our orange, this next step, I'm going to walk you through how to make your own brush. Now this is optional, so if you want to just finish the project by using these media brushes on the orange, you can. I won't stop you. This next thing is going to take a little bit more effort, but they just want you to know how to make your own brushes if that's something you're interested in. So if you're not, go ahead, texture the orange using the same process as the apple and the banana. Save and close. If you are interested, continue on to these next steps. So, oh, don't forget to save your work. So if you've gotten to this point, make sure to save your work and save it often. So to create a brush, we are going to, let me save real quick. We are going to open a new canvas. So File, New. Set the size to 72 by 72. And in the advanced options, set the color space to grayscale and the fill width to white. And don't forget that you've done this, because you're going to have to turn it off later. So color space is grayscale, fill width is white. Later, you'll want to change the grayscale at the very least back to RGB color, or else everything you draw will be gray. Okay, so 72 by 72, color space is grayscale, fill width is white. Click OK. A new canvas will open. Let's zoom in there. This is where you're going to draw your texture brush that you're going to use for the orange. One thing you also need to do is you need to run your GIMP in administrator mode. So at this point, go ahead and save this as a brush. Just save it as a brush, close out, and restart GIMP in administrator mode. To restart in administrator mode, right-click GIMP in your start menu, and then click Run as Administrator. Right-click, Run as Administrator. Otherwise, this won't work. And then reopen up this brush file. I'm already running mine in admin mode, so I can work with that. All right, I've got my brush canvas, 72 by 72, grayscale, white background. Now I need to draw my orange texture. Up here in my brushes, it's only showing my media brushes, so I can unclick that to show the rest. I'm going to go back to my Pixel 3x3 brush, set this to black, and then thinking about oranges, they have bumpy textures, so I'm going to want to draw some bumps. One thing I'm noticing, by the way, is that my opacity is set to halfway, so they're not black. There we go. So I'm just going to draw some different sized bumps for my orange so that I can add some texture pretty quick. And then some spots, because I know that oranges have spots. And once I'm happy with this, I need to save it. So to save it, you're going to export it. File, export as. And this is where it can get kind of confusing. So we need to save it in our GIMP brushes area. To get there, it might be different on your computer, but I'll show you how to do it on mine, and then you can find yours on your own later. So on my computer, in this section, I click on Windows C, Program Files, GIMP 2, Share, GIMP 2.0, and brushes. So if you missed that, you can see it in the top bar here. First it was Windows C, Program Files, GIMP 2, Share, GIMP 2.0, and brushes. Now, it's not going to be that way for everyone. You'll have to look around if it's not there for you. All right, so I've got the location. I'm in the brushes section. If I want to be fancy, I can add it to the media area or the texture area. It's kind of up to you. I'm going to add mine to the texture area. And we want to name this as orange, whoops, orange bumps. Let me type. And notice that when the other ones are named, they don't have spaces, they have little dashes, so I'm going to do that. And I want to save it specifically as a GIMP brush. So in the select file type, I'm going to scroll down until I see GIMP brush, which is DBR. It was already ending in that, but just in case it didn't, now it does. And then click export. Let it take its time to think. You can click export again. And now going back to my fruit, my orange layer, I'm going to refresh my GIMP brushes so I can see my bump brush, which is somewhere. Where is it? I don't see it. Okay, well, I'm going to use the filter because I put it into textures. There it is. I found it. So orange bump 72 by 72. And then I've got my orange. I need to pick a color that goes with the orange. So I'm going to pick a slightly darker orange. And then using my brush, I can just sort of click on it to add that texture in. And that's how you make a brush. And you can make a brush that shows anything on it. It doesn't have to be a texture. It can be anything. It could be a green pepper. So play around until you, and have fun with that part of it. All right, so I'm gonna add some of my texture. I'm gonna lock my alpha layer. I'm going to also add some lighter versions of this. Okay, and so I've got a textured banana, an apple, and an orange, and I can save this work. And you are now prepared to do your practice for Unit 6. Your practice is going to be 2 boats. So one thing I might recommend for that one is if you're struggling with what a boat looks like, look up a reference photo and work from that. That is a-okay. Or you can draw it from memory. I don't mind either way, but good luck on your drawing project. And I'm excited to see what you do.